Today is day 25 of the federal government shutdown. I think it's important that we reflect on the number of ways the shutdown affects the national parks. The complete workforce of the National Park Service is 24,681 employees. None of these people are currently being paid. Of those 24,681 employees, 3,298 are deemed essential, meaning they have to show up to work regardless of the fact they're not getting paid. That's 13% of all National Park Service staff. For them, gas money, commuting expenses, daycare, and other daily costs are still piling on, but no income is coming in. Park rangers are limited to as few as one employee on site in some places, while larger parks like Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Joshua Tree are expected to manage their massive visitation with skeleton crews. No facilities are open to the public, including restrooms, visitor centers, and fee booths. This has resulted in people defecating throughout the parks, abandoning trash, and damaging infrastructure. At Joshua Tree, illegal off-roading trails were constructed in delicate environments, and to make room for these trails, several Joshua trees were sawed down. Worse still, visitors are getting injured and dying without search and rescue teams to help them. One of the most upsetting aspects of the shutdown is the policy to keep the parks open at all. The damage that is happening results from keeping the park accessible without routine maintenance and law enforcement being in their usual numbers. In previous shutdowns, the national parks would close their gates, but this year's policy of leaving the parks open has negatively impacted these pristine environments and historic artifacts. Even worse, the parks are remaining partially available through the use of reserved visitor fees. Keeping the parks open is not only robbing these reserved funds, but actually spending that money to let people damage the parks that these funds are meant to improve. So far, I've talked mostly about the impacts on parks and staff, but we should also be talking about the towns outside the parks that rely on tourism dollars. Several studies have concluded for every dollar the government spends on national parks, the neighboring communities make a return of $4 to $10. With the parks in their current state, many travelers have diverted their vacations, thus putting a hardship on local economies. But perhaps the worst aspect is there seems to be no end in sight. No plan going forward, no sympathy for the men and women who dedicate their lives to preserve our national treasures. At this point, the average park ranger has been denied nearly $5,000 in income. Like our fellow federal employees, we still have to pay for rent, food, heat, power, and everything else the average American is responsible for. Our parks and our people are hurting. How much longer will you let this go on? Thank you for watching this latest video. I know it's more of a somber one. Tomorrow we'll get back to talking about how wonderful the parks are and showing you pretty pictures, but this is a video I felt I needed to make. If you like this series and would like to see more videos, please head over to my Patreon page and support the channel. Thank you.